the fourth episode of season 3 of podcast brought to you by ISAC Sri Lanka. And this season, we are going forward with the tagline Creativity Without Constraints. And I'm your host, rather, today, Kavish Pereira, missing our co host, Ashin Veerasinghe. So it'll be just me taking forward the episode this week, or rather today. So we've come forward, passing down 3 episodes, where the first episode was about the host, speaking on our tagline and our perceptions, our ideas, our points of views, and sharing a little of ourselves as well. And then we brought in two wonderful personalities, starting off with Ravi Royston, and then we had Danika, who was on the entrepreneurial aspect. We brought two extremes rather. And today it's another personality joining us with a different touch, but with a vast knowledge that you can obtain, or rather you can gain from him, and a lot of ideas we'll be sharing and talking with him throughout the day. So it is also important to remind you rather that this is the production of the national showcasing team of ISAC Sri Lanka. And ladies and gentlemen, you can always watch us and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, YouTube, and the Facebook page of ISAC Sri Lanka. So that's about how things are going to get set. So without further taking time, without any more delays, let me introduce the guest speaker or the personality who will be joining us for episode 4 of podcast season 3, brought to you by ISAC Sri Lanka, Creativity Without Constraints. So ladies and gentlemen, if I may explain him, he is the Chief Operations Officer at the International Medical Campus. He's a senior lecturer at Cambridge College of Business and Management. He is also the joint founder at Asuna Trust Sri Lanka and external faculty member at the University of Moroto Sri Lanka, former visiting lecturer at University of Colombo Sri Lanka, and a former lecturer at Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Intikab Zufar. Tada.
Hi,
Hi, good evening. Welcome. How are you?
doing great.
Great, doing great. So, what's new? How has the lockdown been? How has this pandemic and the new normal been? What's new with you?
If you ask me what's new, in short, I can say that I gladly accepted the program on this date, and 2nd of October is my birthday. That's new.
All right. So, we've got a birthday boy in the house. So, all wishes, blessings to you
Thank you.
to for a greater year ahead and another step closer to your life goals as well. Right. So I think we're starting on a very positive note with celebrations around and all of that. So to break off the ice, we'll start off with a small question. But this question does not limit to the two of us, but also to the audience. So everyone listening to us, watching us, it might not be live, but you can always comment on your thoughts regarding what we talk and your ideas about what the discussions are going on. So now we know that the world has evolved as globalization and technology has taken over. Digitalization is the new normal. So we are moving fast with technology. And I think most of us have a smartphone, rather not one, but two or many smartphones. So, and we like if we put run through of the day, or if we stop for a moment and think about the day, there's many hours of the day that we run through with our phone on social media, on other apps and notifications, running through, speaking to people, and all that. So, if you are given a chance to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, what are the 3 apps that you are going to keep in your phone? Indika,
Mhm.
what do you think?
Definitely, without a spontaneous doubt, first has to be definitely WhatsApp. That's Kavishka, like the digital drug. It's the
Yes.
digital. Then for a person like me who wants to create content and edit content, I use a app regularly called CapCut, and I recommend it for many to use it. I will definitely not compromise on the CapCut application, so I will keep it. Now, the one thing would, of course, be for all my lectures. I use many apps, about six, seven. If you want to
Right.
select the most preferred app in that, it would probably be between and a possibility between Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Those would be
Right.
the three.
So that's a nice indication the three apps that will be remaining in Intikab's phone, if given the option to delete all, but just keep three. So that will be WhatsApp. Like you said, I think WhatsApp, like you said, is sort of the digital drug, right? We can't live without it now. It's become the new normal. It's very rarely we take a voice call these days. It's like it's always a WhatsApp call. It's always something over data, over something of that sort, not a voice call anymore, not a text message. We even if we have a notification on text messages, it's like very rarely we would check it. It'll be always be the WhatsApp notification that we'll check first, and not a normal SMS, not text message. So very true. And then with his career aspects and what he does, the two apps for editing, content editing, and also the online Google Teams, also either way. So I think all of you can also comment on what are the three apps that you will keep, because I believe with creativity and one of us being different to one another, it'll be different three applications that each and every one of us might choose to keep in our phones. Some of us might want all three social media apps. The influencers would want the social media apps kept back. The older generation might sometimes want the traditional apps of the text message, the call options, and all that kept, which they would prefer to, with maybe a little bit of Facebook, because that's like the elderly age band that uses social media. But things would change accordingly. And so would I, but I've never put thought into this question. But as I take time today to think of this question, let's get into discussion with Entikab, because today is about getting the maximum from him, learning from his life experiences, from his career development, and all that, to pass a message on to these budding youth and to build a better generation. So kudos to Isaac Sri Lanka as well for always being there to build the youth of the country, to inspire them, to aspire them to be better individuals as they groom and nurture in their life. So, Nika, getting into the questions straight away. So, we're about to talk about your life. Now,
Yes.
if I may say, you are a renowned lecturer rather. And what has been the main motivation for you to choose this career? Was it at your childhood that you thought, yes, I'll be getting here someday, or was it in between? Because we know when we are kids, there are sometimes that framework which we stick into. We do not know what options are out there in the world. But as we grow, we tend to choose and learn and explore better opportunities. So, what was your story in becoming a lecturer?
Basically, I had a very clear DNA in my background, Kavishka, that my mom and dad were teachers,
All
and
right.
I was basically brought up in a situation where I had to be very careful of what I say, what I talk, what I learn, because they are teachers. And
Yes.
it became even more pressurized that my mother's all her sisters and father's all her sisters are also happening to be teachers.
Oh God.
Then it became even more complicated, and extended cousins, second, third level of cousins, also it kind of developed, which gave me the DNA. Now, I used to test this DNA whether it's really in me. So during my old school days, Kavishka, I used to teach while I study with my friends after classes. I used to stay. I used to see whether I'm precisely talking on point. Can I make a complicated story very simple and teach? And a lot of my teachers said that I had this. Thereafter, during my undergraduate study, I did a rare presentation on Nike for my classroom, and my lecturers immediately offered me a lecturing or an assistant lecturing position. And I started at a very young age with a lot of senior people, and thereafter, I think I've got a lot of offers overseas and many other universities. And I think I figured out that it's more than lecturing, it's just the satisfaction what you get to see that you are molding people and you're changing people, and you're giving a sense of various perspective with your experience to make their careers look better. And down the line, Kavishka, when I go and see companies like Unilever's, half of the brand managers are my students, or half of Coca-Cola's brand managers are my students, most of bank managers are my students. I understand that where, wow, okay, so what I have been teaching from the ABCDs of whatever I know, these people have got about it. So I basically get tremendous passion, excitement when I do this, that Kavishka, if I don't teach, if I don't lecture, if I don't have an audience talk, I feel very bored sometimes.
I think a nice answer. I think so. I think it's been paved. The way has been paved, like from destiny, from your childhood as well, with everyone around you. I think the energy has forced you, driven you to that path, and I think everyone, all students, are enjoying the facility of such a wonderful lecturer, a renowned lecturer, and like you said, lecturing is not about just teaching. Just like you say, it's about that self satisfaction you see when you look out, you're grooming someone, you're molding someone to become a better individual. And that self satisfaction, I believe, cannot be matched to anything else. You cannot get that happiness from anywhere else. That so much of content, so much of self satisfaction, where you're like, yes, it's I paid a little bit, I contributed a little bit in his or her journey of life towards success. Wonderful answer, and we know how the lecturer himself has come to become a lecturer from his child days. So, ladies and gentlemen, we remember that episodes had a respective theme that we concentrated on, and this episode concentrates rather on thinking out of the box, because we know that there are frameworks, and it's always important to break this framework or move out of this framework, break the glass ceiling, and get out there. So, Indika, moving back to conversation, now we find this common misconception that creativity needs to be mainstream, limited to mainstream industries rather, like marketing, advertising. But how important it is to think out of the box when it comes to creativity, and how can this be applied in industries in your perception?
In short, Kavishka, I would say how important it is that we have a concept called benchmarking, which we
Yes.
need to compare people in the same industry and people out of the industry. So, for an example, if you, I'm just showing you my, my mouse here, which I use. So,
Mouse.
it's basically a wireless mouse. If I want to basically develop this wireless mouse, there is one technique of creativity which we use, that you have to think that this is a wireless mouse and think it on the same platform of how you would think. But I also can come out of the box of the squaring myself inside this box and saying that this is not a mouse anymore. This can be something else. Like it can be a mug shape of a mouse. I
But
can keep that mug basically in a way that it can be used to maybe keep pens, pencils, a pen holder, and use it
yeah,
like this and things like that. So benchmarking is very important, Kavishka, to come out of the industry. I'll give you a corporate example. A corporate
yeah,
example was DHL, world's largest courier company, which is over 100 years old. A very profound courier company which is available in more than 120 countries. These
yes,
guys were in the best time of delivering products, and they deliver on time, and they are known to be one of the most expensive folks who deliver. They are
yeah,
kind of 3-4 times expensive depending on their areas of
yes,
couriering. They wanted to always be number one, better than FedEx, their competitors, better than Aramex, better than UPS, better than TNT, etc. But still they were missing something. They were missing something because everyone questioned them, what industry are you in? And they always said, Kavishka, we are in the courier industry and we need to be number one. And they were number one, but they were missing out of something. It's number one. We are still better than Aramex. We are still better than FedEx. But what are we really missing? And they found out through a different perspective that they are not in the courier business, but they are
oh,
in the delivery business, and they wanted to, Kavishka, understand who is more stronger in the delivery business. And according to their research, what they did, the most strongest successful company in delivery business was Pizza Hut. So they
oh,
analyzed Pizza Hut, which is a delivery of fast food. How and why are they fast? And they understood that they are fast because they are using delivery bikes, and the guys who are riding these bikes and the managers who are running these people are from that area. Example, you get someone from Borlas Gamua, don't get
yeah,
someone from Kandy to become the manager of Borlas Gamua. Get
that is
someone
right.
from that area. Likewise, if you are running the main Pizza Hut, let's say in Connecticut or in New York, you shouldn't get someone from Washington and place him here. Get someone from the area who will know the routes, who will know the roads, who will know the map digital in his mind. then you can deliver your products fast. That is how Pizza Hut gave a 30 minutes deal that if you don't get your pizza in 30 minutes, you'll definitely get it free of charge. DHL thought that it's enough comparing ourselves with the people in this industry. Let's benchmark it to another level. And what they did was they looked at specific areas like that, and they actually overcame even the delivery challenge creatively coming out of it. That I would say, Kavishka, is one of the modes of how we think out of the box. You just think it precisely, assuming this is not a mouse, what would it be? Something like that.
I think that was a brainstorming session rather than few minutes, couple of minutes of explanation. I think it's wonderful because sometimes we tend to think that way, right? Because even in the corporate world, sometimes the natures or the people who are getting into the industry think it's that this industry that we need to focus on. It's this the competitors of this industry that we need to benchmark ourselves with. But likely, I think this was an explanation that opened minds to think outside the box. Because, like you said, if DHL still was comparing themselves with RMX, UPS, and all of them, you would still be struggling there, always thinking, why are we not better? And
Also,
whereas it was the,
also one thing, Kavishka, if I have 100 rupees in my pocket and I'm going to buy a Coke, and instead of I buying a Coke, if I actually want to buy a Maliban cream cracker biscuit, actually Coca-Cola's competitor at that point doesn't become Pepsi or Elephant House, it becomes Maliban cream cracker. They have to compete in that. This is called share of wallet. In your wallet, how much of a percentage would you dedicate for Coke? Yes.
less than. I think for marketing people in the marketing industry who's watching this, I think this is going to be a one-off session from such a renowned lecturer, getting those insights. Not attending a lecture, but having a friendly talk and getting that insight is, I think, wonderful for all of us here as well. You don't have to sit at a boring lecture at an institute or watch a Zoom session for hours, but you're getting the insights then and there with this quick chat you're having. So you're welcome on that. And thank you for Intikab for sharing those insights, because I think these minute points make a difference, a massive difference. Little things do matter, and less is more, they say. So I think these few things, when we apply in practice in the corporate world, changes head over tails. Wonderful. Indika, now you've talked about how innovative things have to be, how people need to think out of the box and all that. So if we look at advertisements of corporates, and if I may ask you, is there any advertisement that you give particularly creative or one of your personal favorite, or not maybe one, but a couple of personal favorites that you could share with us? So we also maybe go watch them and learn something from them as well.
Advertisements, Kavishka, come and go. The time you leave you leave your house until you go to a place, you see boards and posters, etc. You sit in front of your TV, you see so many ads. You go on YouTube, you see so many ads. But if you can remember like 10 or 15 clearly, it means it's really strong. I used to do some lectures in advertising, and I used to like research a lot on these stuff.
Right.
Kavishka, I saw a fantastic advertisement of Toyota. I tried to
Right.
search this on YouTube, and I basically lost track of it. Maybe it's not uploaded, or maybe I'm not searching it properly.
Right.
Kavishka, there was an advertisement by Toyota, which actually was a particular advertisement targeting at their eco-friendly cars. So
Oh yeah.
Toyota was moving from their usual platforms of fuel engine to electric, or hydropower or something like that. So they are looking at
Right.
the hybrid versions of vehicles. They wanted to show that their vehicles do not have much noise. So they show a
Hmm.
Toyota car parked in a particular misty area, which is kind of having a tree and an empty ground where there is no one
Right.
there. The guy is going to start his car, and he sees there are hundreds of butterflies on the car, on the hood sleeping, and on the bonnet sleeping. He still manages to slowly open the door. He gets into the car and he starts the engine, and none of the butterflies they don't
Oh.
leave.
Move.
Simple message, but yet one of the most attractive, simple, creative way of how they did for Toyota. I once saw a Virgin Atlantic advertisement of
Right.
a test done in New York City, where people were asked to randomly sit in a desk like thing, and soon as they sit
Okay.
there, an air hostess comes wearing the uniform of Virgin Atlantic and serving them drinks and serving them food. And they used to do this as if someone is going in the plane, to give them a real attraction of how you would get an experience in the aircraft. And then they give you the navigation of a menu card to select food, and also a TV card to select which program you want to watch. If you click any of those programs, there was a crew ready to come and do and perform a part of that movie front of you live. So there is about
Oh,
20 movies. If you click movie number 17, a crew comes and they just demonstrate front of you a very good part of that particular movie. And at a time when you are feeling a little tired, the air hostess comes with a blanket and gives you, covers you like that, and shows you an experience of how you would see. These are two advertisements, probably out of hundreds, would come into my mind at the.
nice, nice. I think it's that minute details, like you said, the minute details again making the difference. Because I think there are many ends just like that, which has put in so much of creativity. But it's to find the minute details which I think touches our hearts and later on sticks with our mind and keeps us thinking and makes us that gives us that secure feeling or homely feeling that gives a little bit of goosebumps, makes us stop for a while with our busy days and think, oh gosh, this is it. So something of that sort. That I think that feeling is very important, and that is something that I think the budding individuals, the youth needs to pay attention to. It's not about merely going out there into the corporate world or doing something of your own and just sharing something for the sake of it. But it's about giving a purpose, doing something with purpose, sharing a message, touching the hearts of the people who are going to watch you, listen to you. And it's about connecting with people, speaking to their hearts, and watching them satisfied with whatever you have for them. So I think it's a whole package altogether, and it comes with passion as well. I think without passion into what you do, you don't a proper output is not expected or cannot be produced. Right. So when you think of the phrase "think out of the box," Intika, do you think our educational system follows or allows opportunity for students to grow in a creative mindset? Now, that is, I think, a question most of us have in the youth or just someone who's moved out from the education system and got into the corporate industry might have. Is it actually supporting the creativity of individuals to think out of the box in the education system that we have in your perception?
It's a Kavishka, a very subjective question. I've dealt this kind of areas before. If you want to, for an example, take your phone, or any of our listeners who are having their phone with y'all, you can go on Google and just type the words "university education makes me" and keep it blank, or
Right.
"university life makes me" and keep it blank, and see what
Right.
are the drop menus which you get. Boring, suicidal, afraid, outdated. These are the answers you are basically going to get, and that's
Good to
basically
get.
what has been the fact. It's because that people like Amir Khan in his Three Idiots movie was
Yeah.
always emphasizing that education is good, but education is a very, very boring word. You need to make this word to learn, make people to
Yeah.
experience. So
Right.
Elon Musk says the education system, why he's against it, and why he said that I will never send my three kids to university, I will teach them at home. He said in the university they will teach you process by process and not the problem, but I will first of all give the problem and go behind and show them how the solution will come. So I feel that sometimes if you are not set with a proper guru, a proper expert, a person who will not actually show you proper direction, you might probably end up actually experiencing that formal education is putting you inside the box and it is not making you come out of the box. Whereas you should learn how to come out of the box. I'll give you a quick example before we go to the next one. I always say,
Sure.
students, in my opinion, I will be correcting your assignments or papers. In my opinion, don't allow me to include my ideas in it. I want you to come out with your ideas in it. I will give you the basics, and I give them an example, Kavishka, saying that I want you to develop a house, and I am telling you that the house will have four people. The house should not be built on a marshy land. These are the details I'm giving you. Where you put the well or you don't include the well is your business. Do you want a garage or you don't want a garage? You want a two-story house or a three-story house, attached bathroom or common bathroom? That's your baby. You need to be creative in that. I will not tell what you should do. I want to check your creative level. So I basically try these kind of exercises where I don't basically spoon feed many things, but I want people to be creative from them to themselves itself.
I think that's very important, Indika. But I think, like you said, the traditional education system sometimes does not allow that, sadly, unfortunately. But I think moving forward with the generation taking over, with the change of generations and the next generation taking over to come over and facilitate, or rather to facilitate learning rather than providing education, I think there will be a change and we can hope for something good. Well, we do have a living example right with us today. So, what more do we need? So, more individuals like this, I think, would be very beneficial for the generations to come. And then we will be learning with that and changing ourselves to be apply that afterwards in the years to come as well. And like you said, it's important to facilitate, not to educate, rather because now something I also believe is that when learning something, one thing you need to learn is the logic, not memorize it, but try to learn the logic. Why this happens because of this, then that will be something that will carry with you throughout your life. Because if you don't memorize it, it will be just for that short period of time just to cram an exam. But if you learn the logic, understand the logics of life and how things happen, why is this happening, and try and apply it whenever you can in every other situation, well, you'll be carrying it with you throughout your life, and that'll be something that you'll be applying in your corporate careers, your personal life as well. Sometimes you never know, and it might come in handy. So, an eye opener for that. Now, Indika, so I think when I introduced you, I went on to the list of calling your designations, or rather what you've been doing as a lecturer, as a founder, as in operations and all that. So, and then in the discussion, we came up when we initially spoke about the three applications that will not take off. There was the second application about this content editing. So, where does this content part come into your career and life, and how did it happen?
See, content marketing or content driven platforms or education or careers is basically today's most outspoken thing. There are courses, there are people who specialize in it, there are jobs in it, there are people who want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. So
How
I
to do
believe
it?
that social media, Kavishka, has made people to do these kind of things. You need to actually be very creative in terms of copywriting words, know how to create some creative aspects, and give a concept for people, companies. I mean, you look at what happens now is it's not about how much of degrees you have, not about the degrees which you can show. It's about how much of content can you tell people, share people, and talk to people. I mean, if basically if there is someone who can come on YouTube and just sit front of the camera like this, and he thinks his content is going to really make his channel go viral, and if he's taking the audacity to try things, that is what is the level we should do. I'll give you two channels. I can't remember. Like, there is a guy called Mr. Beast. Probably
Right.
many people will be knowing.
Yes. Yes.
He one day opened his camera and he recorded himself counting from 1, 2, 3 up to 1 million. And people watched him, listen to him do that. Then we have Banuka from Surge, who used to play video games and got content of people to watch him play other video games. And then I can't remember this guy. He has done 400 videos for
Right.
4 hours. 400 videos for 4 hours he has done. A video is 4 hours. He looks at the camera and he looks into the camera and he keeps smiling at you for 4 hours without moving his body. He just smiles at you and he waits. This is
God.
who comes out with content like this is people basically who have the audacity to think out of the box,
Box.
who want to
That's
think
right.
different. So I believe I believe content is unlimited. That's something really important.
Important. I think the answer did answer a few things that I wanted to ask afterwards as well, because I think now as we move so much with social media, we have the influencers coming in. But sometimes most of us or some of us, these personal opinions being shared, no offense, some of us do actually think, are they influencers, right? Because someone might interpret the word influence as a person who actually influences the audience, for to making them better individuals, rather of that sort, than just merely being there sharing pictures of something and getting more likes and comments. And one person who's a little conservative and having that opinion, if he or she wants to move into social media, take a small step like you said, and maybe share something. What should he or she do? Is there some advice you can share with these little individuals? Because with the few or the circles that I've spoken to, the open chats we've had with random people, some do tend to think, see, I want to grow my base, right? I want to speak out to people. I want to share a message, but I'm thinking whether I should, because will people categorize me as an influence? Will people think of me as an influencer? Right? There is also a misconception of what actually the influencer tag carries. So any message you can give to these young individuals who want to at least try and do something of that, India.
Basically, a lot of youngsters love to do this, but I've seen that youngsters who are very confused into finding their pick, and
That's right.
they also have got a bit carried out that you are a successful influencer or you are a successful personality if you have more than this amount of followers, more than this amount of followers in your social media. So you need to have a large amount of followers on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or maybe TikTok. But when you actually see, that is really not sometimes the spot. I used to do some content which is regarding to scientific matters relating to students who like to study anatomy or forensic sciences or medicine. I
Right.
don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to follow that content. I want only a specific group to follow it and that specific group to interact with me. For an example, Kavishka, I need to find, let's say, 500 or 1000 followers where I can have at least 40% of that interacting with me, commenting on my sections, talking to me, sharing my content would be far more better than I use a credit card, buy some followers, and
Yes.
post a picture where my social media following is about 1 lakh, but only 4 people are liking that picture is far more worst. And these
Very right.
people some have misunderstood and misused the name influencers as well. So my advice is, if you can find anything which you can be consistent of, and I mean anything, it can be anything like you take something randomly in your table and you explain and describe this in English or Sinhala or Tamil or whatever the language you want. You can like take like crazy stupid contents like, hi guys, this is my bag and let's see what's inside my bag, and you take stuff and people will watch you to do that. But you need to come out with this content at least every week. Can you do it? Or you
That's
can't
true.
do this like part time, you can't do this for fun. I just want to just do it for fun. And you need to continuously do this. If you have the ability to continuously do this, that itself is enough. This guy in TikTok, the African guy who is in US, who has the
Yes.
highest number of TikTok followers, lame it goes as name. His secret, yeah, that guy, yes, his secret is he's consistent. He is
Yes.
damn consistent. He
Consistent.
is maintaining that consistency always. If anyone can maintain that consistency in any aspect of what you do, you can create your own content and you can start off, and don't be shy just because you have a small base who want to watch you or look at you. If you keep doing it, it will take time where people will grow. And that's exactly how Banuka Harishchandra did. People were not bothered to look at him playing a game, and he never changed it. He just did that 50 or 100 or 150 times, and he just kept on doing it. At one particular point, he got the base to watch him play. That's basically it. Find something and be consistent, anything should work.
Find something, be consistent, and when that hard work comes right with the time, it'll be unstoppable. Right. So I think we're moving on to the last question of this segment.
Time
Now,
flies, Dhanushka.
time flies, time flies. I also couldn't keep up with it. So now, is there? So we've spoken about a lot about creativity. I think it was a lot. I think it was a fun lecture rather. Listening to a lecture, but not a lecture, but getting all those points into us. So, is there any creative strategies in addition to what we spoke? For someone in the industry or some young guy, young people who are trying to be creative, maybe start with marketing, branding, all that, that they need to keep in mind and follow, which would be helpful in their careers as well.
Yeah, in short, I would say creativity is a art which can come within you, or you can basically learn it by exposing yourself to many things. You need to try. That's why when we were kids, we were given clay. Keep creating things. We were creators from beginning. Only when parents, uncles, aunties, teachers used to tell us no, 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 we stopped. Until then, we just want to meddle. We just want to meddle and try and see. So my humble thing is that whatever the field you are, creativity is a part and parcel of everything you do. There is no field, even whether you're a lawyer, even whether you're a doctor or a politician, there is no field which you can come out of it if you are not creative. Everyone needs to be creative. Everyone needs to be out of the box creative if you want to actually survive and keep a name to that industry. So you can actually benchmark, look at others, come out of the box, think that this is not this exact product, test it with few others, look at concepts developed by people in other countries, models in other countries. For an example, when I go overseas, I go and meet as much as possible people who are in the field of what I do to see how they have tried it with their people. All these experiments together will actually give you enormous amount of new ideas to run something freshly. So you need to keep on trying, keep on trying.
Wonderful. I think that's something I've heard before as well in terms of our careers, as well as sometimes as speakers. Now we've been told to gain that experience as much as possible, that exposure from networking from different people, because it's about that blend of different things that comes together to create something very, very unique and gets you thinking out of the box. Because now sometimes as public speakers, when we were asked what different things could we do differently to speak on different topics, bring out new life to the speeches we do, there was one point that we were told, go traveling, travel the country, get those experiences, and that will be life changing, and you'll have things to talk about. So I think it was very similar to what Incap said as well. Go around, meet people, speak to them, get their ideas, blend it in. It'll be a whole new thing, a whole new bucket of ideas leading you. Yes, Indika, we want to add something on that.
On Facebook, there is a very famous post which says, "You have a million bucks in your bank account. Do you like to save it, or do you like to have very less money in your bank account, use that money and travel the entire world? What would you like to do?" 90% of people say, we want to travel the world, because the more I travel, the more I meet, the more I get exposed to, I open up to cultures. And that is what we Sri Lankans used to do, because we are really told like we are a group of people who is trapped in an island. We think this is the only country in the world and this is how things work, when there are other multiple ways of how people do things sometimes can be ahead of us. And until we go and see them, meet them, learn and interact with them, we won't get to know what are the mistakes which we are doing. So interactions with others are very much important. And when I go to other universities, one thing I always ask is how many international students are in my class, because the more it's interesting to study when you're from different nationalities.
Nice answer there again, Indika. Nice addition to what we were just discussing. I think that point, the exact point you spoke about having ₹1 million or $1 million, I'd say, would you want to save it or would you want to travel? I think that's again a change of ideas with generations, because sometimes the traditional mindset, we want to save because we want to save for uncertainties in the future. We do not want to live. We want, like, okay, I'll do it later. I need to save a little bit more and I'll do it later. But then I think it's about living the moment right now, because you never know what's up there for you tomorrow, and gaining that experience and putting that all together, it will change you as a person all in together. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the second session of the day to an end, but we move on to the final segment of the day with our guest speaker today, that is Indikab. Indikab, so we move on to the hot seat segment. So, like it says, short questions, I ask, you answer, very spontaneous. Looking forward for some wonderful answers, and we'll get into it right away. Right away. Right. What is your favorite outdoor activity?
Playing cricket.
Next. What is your favorite magical or mythological creature?
I can't think anything other than a dragon.
Dragon. Nice. Okay. Okay. If you could eat only one item of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chili chicken shawarma.
Nice. Chili chicken shawarma. If money and time were no object, what would you be doing right now?
Like what we discussed, I'll be traveling the world, mostly to European Western countries. That's what I'll be doing.
Whatever. If you were the captain of a pirate ship, what would the name of the ship be?
I don't know. I like this sentence called burn it down. I'll call it something to do with burn it down.
Burn it down. Burn it down with Captain Intical. So, if you could travel to any other planet, what would that be?
I would probably go to a planet which is cold, the most coldest. I like cold.
You like the cold environment. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, final question. Who was your childhood actress crush?
So there was a very hot actress who was very slim called I can't really remember her name also now. It was a Bollywood actress.
Okay,
Uh, she just rapidly just she acted in a movie called Taj Mahal. She's probably one of my childhood crushes.
childhood crushes. Nice, that wraps it up. The hot seat segment. Quick questions, spontaneous answers. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end. But before we finish off, turning back to Indika, Indika, one last message you want to leave out for those listening and viewing us via this platform.
I would like to take about 2 to 3 minutes to explain
All yours.
my last expression on this Kavishka is that
Yes.
we youngsters, we marketeers, we future entrepreneurs should live up to a motto called unlearn things to relearn it again. I repeat, unlearn
Yes.
things to relearn it again. So in the past, there were scientists like Thomas Alva Edison to Einstein. Especially Einstein exactly said this, that he said a very controversial statement to say that the more I learn, the more I learn, I get to know how much I have not learned much. And this is a very opposite of each other, which he means is the more he learns why he doesn't know things is the more he learns, he gets to know what he knows, what he doesn't know, and he knows that the element of what he doesn't know is so much. It's like the sea. So the more I read and see, I figure out, well, I just know a few percent of what it is and I don't know a lot. So to know a lot,
Right.
it is easy if you unlearn what you have learned out of it, break stereotypes, break perceptions, and then you see the entire horizon much more clear than it was. That's my message.
Nice message. I think you need to unlearn to learn rather. And I think that's a similar story I think I've heard as well, because we were having this conversation with one of our colleagues and he came up and he said, guys, it's only 1% that we know, 1% that we don't know. And the remaining 98% are the things that we don't know that we don't know. Right.
Correct.
So it's exactly what Intikab said as well. So it's a lot out there that we don't know. So it's about always being open to opportunities, gaining experience, absorbing things into life, unlearning to learn as we develop as better individuals, and always thinking out of the box, and also passing down what we learn to the future with a purpose, because we love to see individuals grow, become better personalities, and that gives so much of self satisfaction more than anything else. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for today, episode 4 of season 3 podcast brought to you by Isaac Sri Lanka, and we're going discussion with Indika. Indika, thank you so much for your time and joining us and for those valuable insights that you shared. I think it was a really enjoyable session. Wonderful. I learned a lot personally, and I'm pretty sure that everyone watching us, listening to us, will have so much to learn, because it was not just a chit chat, but so much of unlearning and learning we did throughout for them to keep and carry with them throughout their life as well. India, thank you so much for joining and for gracing this occasion. And again, happy birthday to you, and may everything that you do be successful and may you be showered with blessings. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned in this platform and stay tuned in this space where Isaac brings to you the best and brings to you individuals sharing and nurturing you as well, who are listening to us and viewing us. And you can always join us or listen to us, see us, watch us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, YouTube, and the Facebook page of Isaac Sri Lanka. So, wrapping up the episode 4 is me, Kaveshka Pereira. Till we see you again, do take care. See you. Thank you.
Thank you.